3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hi guys, I'm back as well. Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Mental Breakup, where in this episode we will find out whether we have matured more.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm your host, Christy. So I wasn't here last episode because I was on a study tour. And I got everyone souvenirs. Yeah.
It was good. It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
Green
Okay.
tea candy.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, so here today I'll be leading this episode all on family. Family.
As you can
Our-
clearly tell from our background, beautiful background, constructed by all of us.
And as for our costume theme today, we have all showed up as one of our family members. So maybe we could start telling everyone who are we dressed up as and why.
Okay.
Okay, you want me to start? Okay.
Sure.
She looked in my direction, so I'm like, okay, now I guess I gotta start.
No, that wasn't intentional.
Okay, never mind. Hey guys, it's Ritz back at the mic again. I dressed up as my dad today. He literally, his entire wardrobe every single day and night, I'm not joking, this man wears shirts and like proper pants. Only
Dad
if we're on
uniform.
vacation will this guy wear anything printed or even shorts. The man does not wear shorts all year round.
Bro, shorts are so comfy though.
I know, but like for some reason, he's so comfortable in like a shirt and pants all the time. So that's the kind of vibe that I was trying to go for today, you know?
Okay,
Love
okay.
it.
Okay. So,
Oh, is he standing up?
I am here today dressed as my dad. I got the buttoned up polo, the jorts, and I switched my glasses frame. These are not the ones I usually use. I swear I don't look like a nerd.
Debatable, but
Okay.
You look okay, actually.
Thank you. Only Christy appreciates this.
Okay, so for me, I'm dressed up as my mom.
Oh.
Because I feel like if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be here doing this podcast. Because I really appreciate like how much effort she spent on trying to get me into a school that focuses on English. I think like I really wouldn't be able to speak English like this without her.
That's sweet.
It's adorable.
Yeah, I really appreciate what she did for me. Okay,
Shout
so
out to Christy's
Sandra.
mom.
Shout out to his mom. As you can see, I'm dressed up as my dad. Paretol, paresol. Shout out to you. This is the pit of the day. I got the checkered shirt and his eyeglasses. His hair is also actually curly, so that's why I'm dressed like this. So, Dad, I love you.
Bro, honestly, you should do the whole podcast in that voice.
That's too good.
At least bring it out a couple more times in the
Oh,
episode.
you best believe
Gotta
I
keep the
will.
viewers hooked.
You best believe I will. Vanessa, who are you dressed up as?
Okay, I'm dressed up as my dad. My dad loves running, so I just took out of his closet.
You gotta show the whole fit. Look at it.
God, athletic king.
Dang.
Strike a
This
pose.
running
Strike a
shirt.
pose.
Strike a running pose.
We got the flash in here.
He basically runs every day, like
That's
after work.
crazy.
So
I think your
Healthy.
dad's fitter than me. I mean, like,
I think your dad's fit.
yo, Sandra.
What is Sandra trying to do today? This episode is about family. Save that for
You wanna be
episode
family?
3.
I'll be your dad. Let's go running.
Okay, so maybe we could now move on to some of our debate questions of the
Ooh.
day.
Okay.
So perhaps we could first start with the one that Lance came up with, which was really
Yes.
interesting. So, is blood thicker than water?
Do you want to tell the viewers what that means if they don't know?
To my understanding, it's like family bonds are more important
Yeah,
than
basically.
your
Than
other
any other
relationships
relationship,
yeah.
in life. So, what do you guys think?
Can we do like a just everybody say if you agree or disagree with the statement first?
First, yeah. Okay, let's do that.
Sure, yeah.
I definitely agree.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I would have to disagree.
I think I would have to disagree as well.
I think I'm in the middle.
I'm in the middle as well.
Yeah.
Okay. We're very split.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
Okay.
Who wants to go first? I think Lance, you should go first.
I should
Because
go
you
first.
came up
You
with
came
the
up with the
prompt, I
question.
think it would be
Okay.
good to set a
Yeah.
base on what
Okay.
you think. Yeah.
I guess my main train of thought is that there have been experiences where somebody has been maybe estranged from their family or kicked out of home because their family doesn't accept who they are. And I feel like at that point, really, why should that relationship remain important? If they're cutting you out of their life, why should you still hold importance to what they mean to you? Right? Like, obviously, this is a very extreme situation, right? But in this case, I guess you would only have your friends or other relationships to rely on if your family cuts you off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just where my mind went to straight away. What do you guys think?
I'd agree with that.
So I think it's not only the considering the extreme cases, but in some cases you might feel more comfortable showing your vulnerable side to your friends or some
For
other
sure.
sorts of relationships, or even sometimes you may feel even more comfortable talking to a stranger compared to your family. So exposing your vulnerability is also a part of relationships. And sometimes you really couldn't do that with family members. And also, from my personal experience, I feel like my friends are more willing to go the extra mile for me compared
yeah.
to family members. But again, I do not deny some of my family members are really supportive of my decisions in life. But still, I couldn't say that family relationships are more important because of the support that other relationships could provide me.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
I'd like to add to that. I think with the quote, blood is thicker than water, it basically emphasizes, family over everything.
Yeah.
Family over friends. But to me, there are friends who feel like family. And I feel like there are people outside of family who have that same type of loyalty where I would take a bullet for them any day and not just my family.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel like also during some of the hardest times of me growing up, sometimes telling family is so hard. Like your parents are sometimes always at work. And the people who see you most often and are around you are your friends. So I feel like, yes, my parents and my family have known me since I was little, but my friends know me through my darkest times, through my most embarrassing, through my most vulnerable, through all of that. And I feel like just because they're not blood doesn't mean the relationship means less to me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely understand that. A lot of friends do feel like family.
Yeah.
See, I do get your point, and I do agree that there are some friends that eventually come to feel like family, right? But personally, I feel like the reason I agree with the statement blood is thicker than water is because friends will always come and go, but your family is always there. No matter what. I do understand there are extreme cases, like you mentioned, where sometimes your family isn't there for you, and I do understand that, and I do sympathize with that because, of course, at the end of the day, your one solid little foundation should be there.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then it's okay. There are other ways that you can seek that. But personally, I've come to realize the importance of family. Yes, friends do seem like family, but they come and go too often for me to really be okay, you're
I
going to
get
be
that.
there solid, you know? It's really 50-50 for me, but more so I'm on the side that blood is thicker than water for sure, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Because ultimately I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't from my parents' support and my parents' help, right? Yes, my friends are always going to be there for me when I want to rant, when I want to talk shit, when I want to do something else. Yeah, of course. Even when I'm going through something, they'll be there. But ultimately, who are you going back home to? Your family, right? Not always, but majority of the time, in some way or the other, they're always going to be a part of your life. Part of you, you're always going to have a piece of your family embedded within it. Yeah.
I agree that yeah, family, like friends always comes and goes, and family is like lifelong. I feel like no matter how bad the things you did, our family are always gonna support us and love us unconditionally. But like for friends, for me, like the inner thoughts, like the very deep thoughts of like myself, I feel like I can only express it to my friends, because like for me, like I guess it depends on the relationship with your family. If you're
Yeah,
very
definitely.
close,
Yeah.
then obviously you can like express your thoughts to your family. But if you're not that close, for example, I feel like I'm not that close with my family, but they always love me unconditionally.
Yeah.
But the deepest thoughts in my mind are gonna be like I'm telling my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it really depends.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think like my stance is also 50-50. Yeah. I guess that's
Okay.
where we stand with that.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like this is such a difficult question.
It
It is.
I actually wasn't decided, but I would say there are just so many different scenarios that
Yeah.
could determine our answers to this. And it's just really hard to pick a specific
Yeah, for
side.
sure.
At least for me, it was really challenging. So maybe we could try to move on to another topic that hopefully may be slightly easier.
And more lighthearted. we went straight into the deep end with that one.
We were all so serious there, like sitting with
My
our
bad,
arms out and
guys.
our hands out like
My
this, like
bad,
our dads.
guys.
Like my dad sometimes sits like this. Like I'm embodying this man right now.
Okay, so maybe we could go on to this question. Having specific family roles like caretaker or peacemaker is really important to maintain peace in a family.
I agree. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys some like really funny family lore. I live in a household, an Indian household, right?
You live in a household.
Allow it. Okay, I'm really tired. I'm on 3 hours of sleep. My words are not coherent right now.
Try your
But
best.
you'll get my
You
point.
got
You'll get
this.
my point. If my family watches this, I'm sorry. I'm gonna expose you guys a little bit. Basically, in my family, the way the dynamics work are like this. I'm like princess. I like throw some tantrums sometimes, but I'm like
Okay.
sometimes. Okay. I try to be a good daughter. So I'm the one that's kind of like princess. My sister's the one that's like responsible because she's older. She knows how to like deal with my parents, and she helps me a lot with that. That's like she's my gateway into being able to do a lot of things, because my parents are like, why do you want to do it? Why do you want to go out? Why do you want to stay so late? And my sister's like, she's just growing up. Let her be. And I'm like, thanks. Like, you know what I mean? So she's definitely like part of the peacemaker crew.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, she's the mediator.
Yeah.
Then there's my mom. Oh my God. My mom gets so pissed really quickly at really tiny things.
My mom's the instigator.
No, literally, bro. I'm just like you were fine 5 minutes ago. What happened? Like, you know, I'm not even joking. Like sometimes her natural expression when she's talking to you is like this. She's like,
Yeah, it's always like that.
I'm like, it's always just so disgusted. Even when they're looking at their phones. My mom, no lie, like she'll go and put her glasses like this, and she'll be like, and she can't even see. I'm like, bro. But anyways, so she's part of caretaker, I would say, and so is my dad. But my dad, oh my God, God bless this man. That's why I'm dressed like him today. He's the ultimate peacemaker. This man just knows how to keep the peace in the family. If my mom has some sort of like, you know, she's mad, she's upset, he'd be like, it's okay, it's fine, like just leave it, don't worry about it. And he's always chill, bro. I love my dad, I love my mom, I love my sister, I love them all, but gotta love dad. He's the real peacekeeper of the family.
Oh, shout out to Ritz's dad.
Shout out dad, love ya.
Oh. Should we
If
go
it
down
wasn't
the
for him,
table?
it would be scary.
Down the
Like,
table.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think we should go down the table.
I feel like I don't really know how to answer this question, to be honest. Because I think for sure there are definitely roles within a family, whether it's conscious or not.
Yeah.
But honestly, I cannot identify them within my family.
That's fair.
That's all right.
Do you think you know what role you play within your family?
Honestly, I'm kind of like I'm kind of just there.
You're just in the presence.
I'm just there. Like I just
Clearly,
exist.
you're the peacemaker
Yeah.
because, guys, always. He gets them to
Holy
shush
shit.
if they're mad. If they're mad, shh.
No, but like low key, the past couple weeks since trying to like settle into HKU, I've been super out of it. Like I'm not involved in my family whatsoever.
I feel you.
But then at the same time, I guess I just don't really pay attention to my family. Is that a bad thing to say?
No,
I
no,
just-
it's not. It's really
Yeah.
relatable sometimes.
Honestly, I mean, okay, I can definitely say one thing. I think my mom is the caretaker. I feel like usually that's like the role that's imposed upon them in every family most of the time. So yeah, she's like the big boss. I feel like in my household.
Yeah.
She like makes the decisions and she takes care of everyone.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't really know what other roles we play.
That's fair.
I think it's alright because sometimes we just take on different roles at different
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
So it's really normal, I think. And I think for sure my mom also takes on the caregiver role or caretaker. So like she arranged all like the schooling arrangements for my sister and I. She enrolls us in all those different extracurriculars.
Oh.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Literally. And she knows what we're doing. At least at school, she knows what I'm doing. While my dad is like,
Oh, sorry guys. We'll let Christy finish.
Okay.
Because, long story short, cameras have a time limit of 30 minutes. But it's Christy.
okay.
Yeah, continue.
Yeah, so my dad is like, oh, what do you study? Like, he just has no idea. I don't know if that's, like, a dad thing.
Yeah.
That's so real, bro. I still till this day have to explain to my parents what my degree is. Because they're so confused. Sometimes they're like, wait, what are you studying? It's been 4 years, guys. I get you, Christy.
At least my mom knows that, oh, you do interdisciplinary studies and environmental science. But if you ask my dad, he probably has no idea I'm doing.
No, I get that.
I get that. They
Yeah.
really do be in their own world sometimes, you know, lost in the sauce, guys.
It's like they respond when you call to them, but if you don't really need them, they're just in their own world.
No, if you really don't need them, they're just...
Yeah.
Literally how my dad responds to me when I say good morning. He's like,
Bro, you know, I told my dad the other day, I was like, yo, I finished my lab report. This was at 4 a.m. I was in school, right? And I submitted it. And the only thing, I was like, I'm so proud. It's literally my kid. Like, oh my God, 10 pages done. Like, thanks, Dad. Thanks.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. Should we...
Let's pause.
Take a pause.
Okay.
Should we
Okay.
pause on that?
yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
be back after
Okay.
this short break.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What was the question again?
The question was having specific family roles like caretaker or peacemaker is important for maintaining peace in a family.
I think 110%. Yeah. Within my family, not gonna lie, I play the role of peacemaker. I think, especially considering that both of my parents immigrated to Hong Kong and still hold a lot of Filipino culture, a lot of their values, like very, very differently to me and my sister. And I
Okay.
think because my sister was the first person to kind of go against what they're so used to, their relationship kind of was a little bit shaky.
I get that.
And my sister had to go through all of the initial kind of
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, because my older sister was
Backlash.
also like in the same situation.
Yeah, she was the person who had to experience all of the backlash to its full extent before my parents were more lenient towards me and my younger siblings.
I get that.
And I think like with me, I was definitely more of the rebel in my family, I would be the first one to start drinking, going out, staying out late. And even though, even though I was more rebellious than my sister, for some reason, every single time my sister, despite being an angel, does something that goes against my parents' beliefs, she gets more of the backlash than I do.
Damn.
And till this day, it's like I still play mediator between the both of them. And I think another reason is within Filipino culture, they grew up in a world where the idea of consent, not in like a sexual way, but in
I get
just,
you.
For example, I don't know if you've heard of what happened to the Filipino gymnast recently. It's where he won a lot of money from winning gold, but his mom felt like he could have control over that money and just buy a house and do whatever she wanted to with that money, despite the son not agreeing to it. And I think that's a lot of what Filipino culture is. It's like, because I brought you into this world, you are constantly in debt to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like because me and my sister are more deviant towards that mindset, that's where all of the clashes come from. But I think it's harder for my sister and my parents to sometimes find middle ground because they were their first experience at that conflict.
I see.
Whereas I was a more toned down experience. Yeah.
I get that for sure,
Right.
for sure. That literally, like, so many memories of me and my sister.
Yeah.
I actually really relate to playing mediator as well. Maybe not exactly mediator, but I always feel stuck in between.
Yeah.
Because my parents, they do not have a good relationship now. It's kind of like they are not divorced, but then you wouldn't say that they are a couple, you know.
Yeah.
So there was a time that I was feeling so frustrated, always having to bridge the communication when it comes to finances because they would have to split the money. And then I actually it was really tiring at some point that my mom acknowledged that, and she was like, okay, so we need to just stop doing that. And they decided to communicate using WhatsApp now themselves instead. For now, I feel like I am kind of between my sister and my parents because sometimes my sister just likes to, just hang out with me alone. But then my mom wants to join, and then I have to be like. Sometimes it's just difficult to tell my mom that, but then at the
Yeah, I
same
get
time, I
you.
also want her to be involved.
I understand.
So striking a balance there is kind of difficult, and I sometimes also feel stuck between my sister and my dad because they didn't really get along that well the whole time. So it's not like a 1 year thing. It's like a thing that has been happening when we were like really small. So it's just a long-term thing.
Damn.
And now it's like my dad wants to sometimes meet my sister. And sometimes I try to initiate that. But then I understand my sister doesn't want to at times. And for me, it's also tiring because the atmosphere is kind of fishy every single time.
It's like tense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it doesn't
get that.
feel that right even for me, and I don't want to do it. So
It's like, how much realistically are you gonna put yourself in the middle of that? At the end of the day, like, yes, she is your sister and that's one relationship, and so is the relationship between her and your dad, and like you and your dad. There's like 3 separate relationships there, but unfortunately you're the one put in the middle of all of it.
Yeah.
I think if you can kind of, push them in one direction and be like, hey, like, what do you think? I know you probably have done that, like you've probably exhausted all your options at this point, considering like you've been dealing with this for a long time. But the only thing you can do is you have a younger sister?
yeah,
She like looks up to you, and like the way that you're handling these situations are so like in such a calm way only shows her that like she can approach these things also in a calm way. So you're doing good. Like don't think, like, even if you're tired, it's okay. But you're doing good because it's not easy to be the mediator in a lot of situations.
Sounds so exhausting.
It is. You have to consider a lot of options, all sides. It's hard, but you're doing a really good job at it.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes parents and family, they don't realize that whenever you act as mediator, it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
Because you're having to make sure that you're not hurting anyone's sides or picking sides, but at the same time making sure everyone's opinions get heard. And that takes a lot of mental capacity to do, to the point where I feel like in those situations you end up feeling like you're just there to mediate and you're not just seen as like your own person.
Yeah.
And it's like a really hard thing to do, and I feel like it happens a lot, especially when you have siblings too, because are you the older sister?
Yeah.
I feel like you also feel the need to like be that role model for her, or be, I guess, her rock amidst all of this going on.
Yeah.
But it's a hard job to do.
Yeah, like maybe not necessarily something that like she could depend on. But then at least I wouldn't want her to feel that I'm against
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course. That's
And I feel like you're doing
important.
a great job at it,
Yeah.
considering
you.
like how you're talking about the situation.
Okay, so maybe we could now move on to Vanessa.
Yeah, girl, tell us.
Well, I can't really relate like between like I can relate to Lance, but like because my family don't have any like specific roles. Because like first of all, me and my brother aren't really that close. We barely talk to each other, and so and my dad, because my dad also grew up in a very independent like household, so like everything between their siblings, if there's like trouble or there's like an argument between them, like they would solve it by themselves. They wouldn't like there wasn't like a mediator or anything. So like so for me, my family, like most of us are very independent. Like if you have a problem, you have to solve it by yourself. So like until a point that you can't, you ask for them for help. So I wouldn't say there's a peacemaker between my family because we aren't that close as well. Like especially me and my brother, because if we're at the same house, we're in a same space, we wouldn't talk to each other. Even text, but it's better. Like it's better now when I got into uni. But before it was way worse. Like we wouldn't even text, we wouldn't even talk to each other, so there wouldn't be any argument that my dad needs to be the peacemaker in our family. But right now it's better. Yeah. But I would say my dad is the caretaker because like he always support us no matter what. Like even though like if we did something wrong or like we're doing something we love, he always like supports us.
Your
And
biggest fan.
yeah, it's the biggest fan. And he would take care of like me and my brother. Like even though now I'm living hall, he would always like ask me that, do you have enough money, or you need to buy
That's
like
sweet.
something.
All dads, I swear to God, they always be like, "You got cash? You need money? Tell me, I'll transfer you right now." Like, thanks.
Like even though he always sometimes complain like, you're always asking me for so many money, or I'm always giving you so many money, but he still gives me.
he's offering it, so you have to
he's
take
offering
it.
Like, I'm not gonna say no. Like,
Exactly.
thanks.
Money's money.
I love that. I get why, like, now when you say, like, earlier, like, when we were talking about blood is thicker than water, and you're, like, you feel like you can tell your friends a lot as well. Of course, your family is there as your, like, I feel like your foundational support, but then now I see why you, like, feel like your friends are there for you more in terms of, like, in that way, you know what I mean? But I get it. Makes more sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right, so it seems like we all have different family dynamics here.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I'm just wondering, like, if you guys think these family dynamics have shaped who you are today.
I think
For
we
sure.
can all agree in unison, shall we?
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yes.
Yes.
100%.
Who
100%.
wants to start?
Vanessa, let's start with
I
you
think
this
so.
time.
Yeah.
Tell us, like, in one short sentence, how you think your dynamics have changed you, for better, for worse, or neutral.
I think better because like in my family we hardly. I don't know. Is it because it's a Chinese tradition, but we don't express ourselves that much in family, like towards our parents. Like we wouldn't like tell how we're feeling or how like worse our like mental health right now is. Like so because of this, I feel like now I'm being more open to trying to express my feeling, even though sometimes I do always like not expressing to anyone because like I rather hold it to myself than tell anyone and just endure it. Like yeah, so now it's like more open. Like I would, even though there's like sometimes I couldn't handle it anymore, then I need to express it out. Then that would be turns out to be like a mental breakdown, which is so bad.
Mental break.
Yeah. But now like it's better because like if there was moments that I'm feeling sad or I'm feeling stressed, I would tell my friends, and I would sometimes tell my dad, but like mostly my friends. So
The advice just doesn't hit the same from
yeah,
dad.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because my dad would sometimes like be so annoyed, like just do it, just do it by
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
stop.
it's not even that deep. Like,
Yeah,
just get over it.
yeah.
agree.
So because of this atmosphere in my family or my dynamic in my family, I would say I've become more open to like expressing myself.
That's good.
Yeah. I think for me, playing mediator has allowed me to communicate my feelings really well, even from a very young age.
That's good. That's really good.
Ever since I was young, I knew exactly why I felt a certain way when I didn't like something, when I felt like a person wasn't treating me right, or when I felt like that person was someone who I really wanted to be close with. I feel like playing mediator in my family has led me to be very aware of all of the tiny micro expressions whenever I talk to people. So it's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, I'm able to, I guess, find middle ground between everyone and kind of get along with a lot of people easily. But at the same time, I also end up being very cautious. For example, I don't know if you guys remember in the first episode me telling you that I have like people-pleasing tendencies.
No, yeah.
I don't think
But
it
that's
was in the
okay.
intro episode. I think it was during our very, very first trial.
Oh.
Yeah, but I think like those people-pleasing tendencies stem from me being very aware of how my parents or my family would react because whenever I had to ask them something of importance, I would have to read their faces and see whether or not they were in a good mood
Yeah, I
before
get you.
I
Oh yeah, I get
before
that.
I like asked them for what I wanted.
For
So
sure.
I think a lot of that kind of like shaped who I am today. Yeah.
Damn. I like that. Though.
But
I get
it's
it.
a
I get
positive
it.
outcome.
Yeah,
It is.
It's like
I think you like the one thing that, based off of what you said, that you've realized, like, yes, of course, you are empathetic towards other people, but I think you've also realized, because you said you're so aware and cautious of things that happen to you too, you know your threshold.
Yeah.
And you know,
I
like,
do.
once you reach that limit, that's when you got to step back. And if it goes over, then that's when everything's going to explode, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, that's good. Makes sense.
I feel like I could really relate to your experience because I also think that I played a role of a mediator. So I also think I have those people like pleasing qualities because I always want to avoid and reduce conflict. Yeah. So I realized that I always end up apologizing for things. And I still do that, to be very honest. And I'm trying to like not exactly cut that out, but at least try to express that in another way. So instead of beginning every single thing by saying sorry, so I try to rephrase it in as in like, oh, maybe I understand that something. So I'm working on that. And also like I really also pay close attention to people's expressions. And it's kind of bad in a way. So for example, if I go home and then I see my sister not looking very happy, and then she just talks to me in a way that doesn't seem very friendly, but maybe it wasn't intentional. So maybe it was just that she was having a bad day or something. So that's the downside to it, because it makes me get really sentimental at times and just getting unhappy for things that,
It's like you take it personally.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
tend to take things really personally.
Yeah.
And
I get that.
and sometimes I just get so tired from like being in between my family members, because in additional of the other work that I am facing on my own, then I don't know if it kind of makes me feel like uncomfortable in the situation I am in, and it makes me feel tired and overwhelmed. So perhaps that is not a very good thing. But then on the positive side, it makes me more independent. But of course,
For
that
sure.
is a double-edged sword again,
Yeah.
because sometimes I feel like I am overly independent, that I don't want to go to seek help when I actually needed help.
Yeah.
And
That
then
makes sense.
sometimes I just look back and I'm like, I should have asked for help for that situation. But at the same time, sometimes I'm really grateful that I could handle things on my own.
Yeah.
So I think that's how my family shaped how I am
Yeah.
today.
I like that.
Thank you.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Go
Yes,
on.
you come after
I-
Christy.
Hearing all of you like talk about your family dynamics is kind of reminded me. I think what I said before is accurate to now, but my family dynamic wasn't like that always. Because at the moment, or like for the past 3 or 4 years, it's mostly just been me and my mom at home, because my dad and my sister are in the Philippines. That's why things have become a bit more like calm, I guess. So I don't really have to communicate with them every single day, because like my dad's in the Philippines, my sister's in the Philippines, so it's just me and my mom. And a lot of the time, because she's a flight attendant, right? So she goes on flights. It's just me at home. So I think that's kind of why I'm mostly just keep to myself now, because like I'm just used to like not really having to talk to people about the stuff that's going on in my life. But then I think that is a result of the family dynamic that I also had in the past, when my entire family was living in the same household. It took a very long time for me to mature. So when there would be arguments at home and like disagreements, especially between my parents or my parents and my sister, everything got a little tense, because I mean, my apartment is quite small, right? So it's kind of difficult for people to, like not interact with each other,
Yeah.
even if they're going through like some tension or like
Like even
some
if they're
Yeah.
pissed at each other.
yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
we just have like we're forced to
Yeah, I get that.
interact, I guess. And then usually that develops into someone getting pissed off, and then they would like take it out on the entire family.
Feel
So-
that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most of those arguments happened between my parents and then my parents and my sister, and I was always just in the middle.
Collateral damage.
Yeah, literally. I would just be doing my own stuff, and because they're pissed at each other, they're also pissed at me.
Yeah.
And so I feel like
Feel that.
I feel like because of that, I sort of just like avoid talking to them about stuff,
Yeah.
because I've developed the habit of just trying to stay away from them, because I don't want to get caught in the crossfire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, now that my living situation is pretty different, I think I'm okay with, like, because of that, I'm okay with just being by myself and doing things on my own. But at the same time, I think it's kind of had a negative effect, because I sort of get frustrated when my family start asking me about like what's going on in my life, because
I get you on that.
yeah,
a
like
lot.
because there was a reason why I didn't tell you stuff, and now you want to know about the stuff that's going on in my life, and I feel like I'm not in a position where I need to tell you what's happening in my life, because I didn't need to tell you before. So I don't have to tell you now. Yeah, so I mean, I guess My family dynamic kind of made me more independent, I guess, as well as easily irritated. Yeah.
Damn. I do get your point in terms of how your family dynamics used to be a bit different before and different now, because that's exactly how it was for me too. Back in the day, I feel like something was up with the family energy and everyone would be really pissed all the time, including
Yeah.
like me, especially my mom. I don't know what it was, but maybe she was just going through menopause, like as women do. Yeah, you know, and she was having her moments like a lot. So was I. I was a dramatic child growing
Wow.
up. Okay, I cried a lot. But like we used to have a lot of arguments with my dad and my sister, kind of just put in the middle as like mediators, while my mom and me literally just had cat fights all the time. Like it would literally be a weekly thing. Like every Sunday when it was family day and we were all stuck together, everyone would be fighting. Of course, I have so much love for my family and I know that they support me in everything, but that's why I kind of did the same thing. Kind of like just kept quiet and I didn't want to say anything because I just didn't want to get in trouble or didn't want to, you know, deal with the consequences of what they had to say. As time, like, you know, went on, things changed, dynamics changed between all of us. I grew up, my sister grew up, everyone grew up, right?
Yeah.
As soon as I had IB going on and like uni, I became so busy myself that I didn't have a lot of time to spend with my family. And when I did, that I would appreciate, you know? But outside of that, I came to realize how much I value my independence because I've always been surrounded by people. Always, like my whole life. Like even at home when we used to have a helper, like she used to sleep in my room. You know what I mean? Like I was never alone. Like I never had like my own space until literally at the end of IB, I finally got my own room without having to like have anyone else in the room. Like I had my independence so late that I got so used to people. But like now, because things have changed and I've been so busy and I've been doing my own thing and my family respects that too, like now, like it took a lot of effort to get them to like kind of leave me alone and just do my own thing. Because like my sister, you like, you know how you said like your sister wasn't the rebellious one. Same with mine. She wasn't. I was the one who did everything.
Yeah.
And so my parents, like, they do trust me, but they're also so, like constantly worried about me. And it gets really exhausting having to like every single time be like, okay, I'm here now. And then they're like, and how long are you coming? And how long are you coming? Every like 10, 20 minutes. It's like, leave me alone. I'm a 21-year-old girl. Like, let me live. And now they finally do. Like now they're a bit more calm. Every time I spend time with them, we just talk about anything. We watch shows together. We watch movies together. Like
That's good.
now that like they can understand that I need my own space too, and they can't like control every aspect of my life, like it's been more calm. And because they travel so much, like my parents, they are constantly out of town, like maybe 4 times a year. Like, and I get months at least a month period at a time every time they're gone, where it's just me and my sister in the house. And it's just so calm. I can do whatever. I can come back whenever. I don't have to think twice before doing anything. Like I can just live like a proper university life, you know? They're like, they always tell me, they're like, why do you have to be part of the crowd that goes so late? Like, why do you want to like, you know, like, what are you trying to prove? All these things. I'm like, I'm not trying to prove anything.
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
trying to be a part of this group.
You're just
I'm just
trying to
doing it
live.
because like I'm young. If when I'm older and I'm your age, I'm not gonna do the same thing, am I? You know what I mean? And it took a lot of talking to them, a lot of like spats back and forth. Like we would argue, it would be bad, but then it would be good sometimes. Once I could finally calm down and be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to articulate. Just please try to understand where I'm coming from, because they grew up very traditional, right? And so they wanted to put those same values onto me. And I'm just like, this day and age is not the same as your day and age. I'm sorry, but you have to get on board. Because if you don't, then you're only straining our relationship.
Yeah.
If you can trust me and know that like I love you guys so much and I have so much respect that I would never just up and go and do whatever without telling you, like, come on. Like, you guys know me. Literally, like, my mom birthed me, okay? Like, come on. Like, you gotta have some, like, trust. And now they do. And it's so much more calm. And I appreciate it so much more. And I love it.
I envy you. I envy you so much. I cannot
It
go
took time, bro.
anywhere without my parents asking me for every single detail. Who's gonna be there? Where are you going exactly? How long are you gonna be there? What time are you coming home? Are you having dinner here?
Dude, my dad never
don't
used
know.
to sleep. He wouldn't sleep until I came back home. And this was
Damn.
until like a couple of months ago, until I finally had to like just go to bed. I have the keys. Let me be. And then they finally let me be, man. Like, I'm like, oh, it took you guys long enough. Love you, but like, oh, damn it.
I feel like I'm kind of in the same position now, but not because they started to understand. It's because mostly I just kept doing it.
Yeah, I
They
would
just
agree
have
with
to
that.
accept
Yeah, like they
That's
just
literally
had
me.
to.
They had
because-
to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just kept like kind of forcing that kind of situation onto them. So it's like at that point they just have to conform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and what's really funny, I've realized a lot of my friends are half white, so they're Western. Their parents are so chill
Don't
with,
even get me started, bro.
with like what time they're supposed to go home, who they're hanging out with, what they're doing. So I think that was one of the biggest differences because for me it was like whenever I went out, I had to have a plan. I had to present where I was going, who I was going with, and what I was doing. While my friends were like, "Oh yeah, I can just tell my dad later," or like, "Yeah, I can just shoot them a
Yeah,
text."
yeah.
The thing is, I'm at that point now where my parents have just gotten used to me
Yeah.
just being like that. But then that was also a really hard thing to deal with growing up because I never understood why I was limited so much.
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't I allowed to do these things and why were they?
I feel like I couldn't really relate to this because I actually feel the opposite way. I feel like I would want my parents, especially my dad, to actually care more about me. Because at times I feel like if I don't say good morning to my dad, if I don't ask him, oh, how's your day? He's never ever going to text me. Like he's never gonna initiate a conversation with me. So yeah, I sometimes it's always like I feel like it's always me trying to initiate talking to him, and it's actually not only just me. Like I talked to my sister about this, and she feels the same.
Like, is there a
So, yeah.
reason, like, as to like why? Is he like just very busy, or like, is there something like what does he usually tell you if he doesn't text you?
I feel like it has to do with him being the only child in the family.
Okay, like that.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all have siblings.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so my dad does not have a sibling. So he's always pretty much alone when he grew up. So I think it's because of that. So he's really kept to himself. He doesn't talk that much.
Just very used to the
Fair
independent,
enough.
like,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, so
Should we
It's okay.
answer?
Don't worry. We'll be there to ask.
Yeah.
How you doing?
You can just text
You
us
know,
whenever you want.
Literally on the
morning.
group
Good
chat
morning,
at
Christy.
Christy.
How you doing today?
Guys, everyone in the comments say, "Hey, Christy, how
Yeah.
you doing?" And say good morning. Okay.
Comment down.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, Christy.
I feel like it's not like really I like people constantly telling
You just want your dad to do
Yeah,
it.
to me. It's just like why is it every single time me doing it, but you never do the same
Yeah.
to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like it should be the other way around.
Like you're parenting your parents. Should we do the last question?
Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like we
Okay.
should. I don't know what should we do.
We actually have a lot of questions, but we've
Yeah.
only covered like 3.
Literally, it's like less than halfway through.
Yeah.
So maybe we could think about setting boundaries.
That's an
Yeah.
that's an
Okay.
interesting one.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
That's an interesting one.
Is
Setting boundaries. I feel like back then I wasn't very good at talking about how exactly.
Sorry,
I-
just continue.
He's
I
setting his
feel-
eyes boundaries right now. He's like, yo.
I might be crying in a little bit, so
So back then I feel like I wasn't really good at talking about how exactly I feel. But then now I I would actually straight off tell my family how I feel. Like I would tell them I am tired, stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's like one of the biggest boundaries that I set so far, because I feel like I also need to care about myself as well.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll talk a little bit more about that when it comes to the last episode, like connecting all together, self-love, right?
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so I feel like that was really important for me to manage my time, because I really couldn't be expected to look after every single one in a family. Like my
course.
friends always remind me, like, this is your parents' life. This is your
Yes.
sister's life. Like they need to take control of their life, and you're not responsible for how
Yeah,
their life
of course.
turns
course
out
not,
to
yeah.
be.
110%.
Although I kind of feel obligated at times as well, especially for my dad, because I understand that he's not a person who is really good at articulating his feelings. And actually, he's living on his own right now. So I also feel obligated to, talk to him more. Or I actually also move to his house now and then. Like I would do it, like say, once in a while, and then every time I would stay for around 1 to 2 weeks. So hopefully I could spend time with him, my sister, and my mom. But then at the same time, it's tiring sometimes. Like last time when I got like my costumes and stuff like that, I told you guys I literally cannot get something else.
Yeah.
Because I had to plan ahead. I had to get clothes from like the place where I had most of my clothes in, and then I have to move my food, my computer, laptop, all of that.
a
So
lot.
sometimes it's annoying, but I'm trying to like make it easier for me. So I bought a new pillow so that I don't have to carry my pillow
Yeah.
around. So yeah, I feel like setting boundaries is important in this sense. Like to acknowledge the fact that I am responsible for my own life and they are responsible for their own lives. And I am not obligated to always be there to mediate everything.
Of course.
That's really good. I'm
doing
glad
a
that
really
between
good
the back
job
and
at it.
forth, you found a really good middle ground.
Yeah.
Because that is so important. You were really in between back and forth, but now I think with your boundary, you've set and established a middle ground, which is really good.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for doing that. It's not easy.
Thank you, guys. So anyone has something to share on this?
Boundaries are a little interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like the entire thing I said before in the last question, where like kind of like how the dynamics changed from back in the day to now, I think that in itself set a lot of boundaries. Like especially now, like my boundaries for like my parents, at least like when I talk to them about things or when I tell them anything, it's like I don't like when they get too into my like personal life. Like say for example, like my room, okay, because like I think because I hadn't had my space for so long, I get really annoyed whenever they go into my room or they like try to like if they open a drawer or something, it's like why are you doing that? It's like let me have my space, you know what I mean? You have your space, I don't invade it, don't invade my space. And that's like one massive boundary that we have with them, especially in terms of establishing trust. It's really hard. But it took some time, but in that way, and like especially with like say for example like my dad staying up as well, I was like you need to be able to trust me, like you know what I mean, like I know I'm going out and I know I'm doing things that are not necessarily something that you're so happy with, but it is something that I am experiencing and I'm going to continue to experience, because the way I described it to them is like if I did get to go to university overseas, you wouldn't even know half the things that were going on in my life. You wouldn't know when I'd be coming back home, what I'd be doing, nothing. But because I'm here and because I want you guys to trust me, I'm telling you everything, you know? And I think that in itself sets a boundary with like having trust. Like if you can't trust me, then what's the point of anything at all? But if you can trust me, then great. Know that I will make sure that you are so aware of everything because I'm happy that you trust me, you know?
I think it's really understandable in the sense that we all have things that we want to keep to ourselves. Like, not necessarily secrets or
Yeah,
some sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
bad things, but sometimes we just feel like we don't have to tell every single detail
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
so like the people, even like the closest ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I think.
And I think trust is very, yeah, when you say like trust is very important in family. Like if your family has trust, then like how much your parents set the boundary, it also depends on how much the trust is. So for my family, my dad wouldn't set much boundaries. Like before, he would always allow me to do the things I love. For example, like at the very young age, I started doing rugby and then gymnastics.
Oh, damn,
And then
that's
rugby,
so
like, and then
cool.
dancing, like everything. He would let me try and wouldn't set any boundaries to what I want to do.
That's good.
But I would say boundaries, for example, like, so my dad like allows me to do whatever I love, like the sports or the gymnastics, dancing, rugby, any kind of thing I love to do. And I would always like it's just a consciousness moment that I would just tell him that I'm doing this right now, I'm doing this right now. But like right now, because I'm living in hall and I'm becoming more independent, I wouldn't like tell him what I'm doing. So whenever there was any moment that he would ask me what I'm doing, I would tell him, and he wouldn't like set a boundaries like I shouldn't do that or I shouldn't do that. He would just remind me that, like for example, because I joined a dance show and it's very hectic. Like every time I have dance practices, and he knows that, but he'll always remind me that, yes, I'll allow you to do this, but you also have to remember that even though you're doing the things you love, you also have to focus on academic because it's also like important in your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
He always like gives me like these little
Reminders.
reminders that helps me to remind that this is also important. So
Yeah, I get you.
I wouldn't say the boundaries are very bad. It's also good for me. Yeah.
Kind of keeps you in check, huh?
Yeah.
Parents really like to do that. They're
Yeah.
like, you doing that? Or what you doing now?
I think for me, surprisingly, as I've gotten older, the boundaries, there are no boundaries for me. I feel like I've gotten to a point where they trust me completely,
that.
I'm able to just do everything on my own without them questioning what I'm doing. So I've gotten to a point where I've been able to tell my dad, and this is a huge deal because in Filipino culture, like dads are very on your ass about where you are, but I've been able to tell him like, oh, by the way, Dad, I'm going out with my friends tonight. And he's like, oh, okay. The boundary that has been very hard to set is a cultural boundary. I think as me and my sister have gotten older, there's this expectation for me and my sister to provide for the younger ones. And also the idea of support in Filipino culture is all or nothing. And because it's such a ingrained belief in my parents, that's where we mostly clash. And I think setting a boundary against that has caused things to be very shaky because a lot of what me and my sister are trying to do in order to separate ourselves from that toxic culture is seen as disrespect to my parents.
Oh, that's the biggest thing with Filipino
Exactly.
families.
It's like you can verbally tell them and you can show them through actions you support them, but their idea of support is sometimes superficial where it has to be tangible, like money,
Yeah.
grades, or I guess like looks to a certain extent. Which is why I think I've gotten to a point where I've realized that like I have to sacrifice my closeness with my parents as a result of me setting those boundaries. And that is just how it will be because no matter how hard I try and tell them I don't align with their beliefs, they're never going to see it as me becoming more independent. They're only going to see it as me disrespecting what they have had to offer me. And I think, that's the hard boundary I'm like still learning to grasp and learning to deal with.
Right. I feel like clashes because of culture is also something I have experienced lately. So recently I started embracing like vegan diet. And then like for Chinese families, it's really normal to have a lot of meat and animal products on the
Yeah.
table whenever it's like some sort of celebration. And then lately, during a Mid-Autumn Festival dinner, I literally told my uncle beforehand that I would not be eating the meat on the table. So I would eat something before the dinner. So, and then at the end, the discussion ended with him saying to me, do not eat out if you have so many preconditions. So that's like one thing that really hurt me, like my extended family hurting me. And then because of that, I was really hurt, and I accidentally also like got tangled into some sort of an argument, like not a serious one, with my mom, like because my mom is like my uncle's sister. So
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah,
that like
yeah,
the
yeah.
position is kind of
Yeah.
hard.
Uh,
Like I feel like my mom isn't really understanding how I feel. Like she's like, oh, maybe like my uncle did not mean that. Like maybe it was
she's trying to justify what he
Yeah.
said.
yeah, like that. I felt that way. But then at the same time, I also acknowledge like where is she coming from?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's difficult that way. And also it was kind of difficult at first when, especially with my dad, to tell him that I do not want to eat meat and animal products. And he's like, oh, so now it's kind of difficult to eat out with you. So I understand it's true actually, because it really takes extra effort to look at what places are suitable for us to eat together. But then I also feel kind of unhappy hearing that, although it's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, it makes sense. 'cause-
But I think for you, it's just a boundary you're not willing to compromise with right now.
Yeah.
And you just have to end up, which is the sad part, accepting that even though they're your family, they will kind of not be as supportive of that boundary of yours.
Yeah, I really feel that way, because it's like trying to find the boundary between like having time with family as well as like aligning with my values of veganism. That is really hard, because like recently I ate out with my sister and my mom, and then I noticed that there are literally no vegan options on the menu.
Yikes.
So I was like, okay, maybe I would take out the yogurt and the salad so I could have it.
Oh.
But then they were like, oh, but you have nothing to eat, so maybe you could have some of this pizza or some of this or that, like with animal products, you know. And then, I mean, it's good that they care, that they're concerned
they
whether
want you
I
to
eat.
eat something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just like they're not respecting the fact that you are following a vegan diet.
I mean, for me, like, I am not a strict vegan, so I would be okay if they have already ordered something and I have a bit of that. But then sometimes I would wonder, would you order more because you're considering that I would have it? That's the part when I just, want to go somewhere with like a proper vegan option that I could focus on my own meal. So it's really like I am sure that I am not ordering something that has animal products in it.
You know what I feel like it is? Right now it's really hard because they're so used to that same lifestyle. They've probably been living it for years and years on
They're
end.
not familiar
Yeah.
with
You know?
the change that you're bringing to
and it
their...
takes time.
It
really
takes
a lot
time.
of
Yeah,
time.
indeed.
But you got this, girl.
Setting boundaries always just takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like all of that we have discussed like really takes time to a lot
For
of
sure.
to realize like what we have gained from it or how we have changed or what could be done better.
Yeah.
So that was a really long conversation. And really meaningful. Yeah, really meaningful. So maybe we could do something more chill right now.
Yeah.
Guys, do you want to see our background?
Yes.
Because, like, I think it's time to embarrass ourselves a little and have a little
Just
bit
a
of a
little bit.
laugh, you know?
Yeah. Something
And be
more
like-
lighthearted.
Yeah,
See
be like,
how much we
Talk
grew.
about too many serious
So, can I
topics.
just say a little appreciation to Ritz because she free-handed the fucking title.
No
She free-handed
lure.
that shit. And Vanessa for printing out all of her family photos really last
Yeah.
minute.
Thank
Dang. Okay, let's show everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring it over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so cute. I love it. like to our family, don't get pissed, okay? Like
Yeah,
maybe we didn't
sorry,
ask
I
for
didn't ask.
permission. But hey, gotta embarrass
Oh.
ourselves every once in a while, right?
Guys, say hi.
Hello.
Guys, this is a really fucking heavy camera.
I'm taking these
This is
sunglasses
our
off.
family, by the way, right here.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much.
Guys,
oh my
we do a little
god.
song.
Family.
Mr.
Alright.
Fuck it up.
You know.
Empire State, my lover, she's waiting for me.
If you guys can't hear, she's singing. What is that? We Are Young.
Yeah.
If you guys have to choose a favorite pick, which one would you choose?
Yeah, comment down below.
Yeah.
I think you should definitely look at the one of the little boy and his dad at Mount Fuji wearing the Batman and Robin shirts. Very, very, very interesting photo.
Girl, you're so interesting right now. What are you doing? She is
You're so
struggling
special.
right now.
Oh
She's like, damn it. She's like, I can't.
I said special.
Thanks, Sandra, for handling the camera.
Thank you. What beautiful footwork, you know? Beautiful. So beautiful.
No, it's not. And okay.
That camera is really heavy.
It is. Why did you take the most heavy one?
Is that okay? Whatever. We're ending it here. It's fine.
And then
Okay.
let's do our outro. Quick
wait,
outro.
wait, real quick. Before we end the episode, everyone say happy birthday, Sandra!
Happy birthday, Sandra!
We love you. Hee hee.
21.
Can you do something for me?
Okay, let's start the episode.
Okay, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. This episode of Mental Breakup, by the way. And so whether you're thriving or you're trying to figure out things or figuring out things within your family or what adulting means, so yeah, that's it.
Yeah. On this episode of Mental Breakup, we found out whether we've matured. Maybe.
Actually,
That's a wrap.
can we say if we have after this episode? Do you guys think you have?
I think we have.
I think we have.
Yeah.
I think we have.
Collectively,
It's
from all your
definitely
experiences.
given me a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, that's actually so
Definitely.
true.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.